Nestled in the southern region of New Zealand, Dunedin is generally considered the quiet backwater of the south, where those who choose to make it their home are fiercely proud of a lifestyle that rarely exists in big cities today. Out on the field, the mighty Highlanders symbolise the fine tradition of ball sports in this part of the world. And on the roads of the surrounding hills, there's a classic car rally, in the spirit of days gone by, that attracts international drivers to sample and spread the word about the best rally roads in the world. This is the Dunlop Otago Classic Rally for 2006. Dunedin's Scottish ancestry is a natural home for one of rallying's best-known fathers, Jimmy McRae.
Thoroughly enjoyed it last year. It was very good, and I think just the general atmosphere and the hospitality, and you've got the best roads in the world down here.
McRae is back again in 2006 to defend the title he took from Pasi Hagstrom last year, so it could be a bit of a grudge match.
Oh, I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it will be. He'll be out for revenge.
Hagstrom is here for his third classic, as much for the change in rally tempo as the competition itself.
It's a relaxed feeling and nice to have something new, like you drive mostly the modern rally cars, and here you can come back to the old times when it was no power steering and more sideways, so that's the thing.
This year, Italian rally ace Alex Fiorio has joined the international crusade thanks to Rosendale Wines, who have installed him in a car he's never driven before, a Porsche 911. Fiorio's potential disadvantage with the unfamiliar 911 is more than made up for by his co-driver. Pointing the way for Fiorio is fellow Italian Fabrizio Pons, arguably the most distinguished female co-driver in world rally history, sitting alongside the likes of Ari Vatanen and Piero Liatti.
Yeah, for sure. She one of the best in the world, and so I think I will have a good days.
For sure will be fun, because he is a fantastic fast driver, so will be fun. And a rear wheel drive car is fun too, so I will enjoy the weekend.
Dean Buist heads the local charge. Considered the best Kiwi chance, the Cantabrian is back again in 2006 with a new Ford Escort RS 1800 and is determined to take it up to the internationals. Dunedin's Geoff Judd won this event in 1998 and was leading in 99 when a gearbox failure let him down. But that was before the big names from overseas discovered the Dunlop Otago Rally, and he's under no illusion about just how tough it's going to be.
I would love to be in the top 5. I'm seated number 6, so it's not much of a lift, but I guess at the end of the day, a podium, top 3 would be absolutely fantastic.
Mark Parsons has made the journey south for the first time, but with a reputation for wheel spinning and sliding, he's a little wary this event.
I've always looked at the event as being a bit, you've got to be very careful with a lot of very high speed and a lot of brows and turning on brows and things like that.
Duncan McCrosty surprised himself last year, finishing on the podium in an underpowered Nissan Bluebird and without pace notes. But this time, he and co-driver Murray Marshall have made the change.
We're going to do the marathon rally later in the year, and it's got pace notes, so we've got to learn at some stage. So I guess we've got to start here. It'll actually not help at all, because it's just neither of us are confident with the notes or confident with each other, so it'll just cause hesitation. So I'm better just to drive probably as normal as I can. If it sounds okay, I might listen to what's coming. Otherwise, the most benefit was just driving over it in reconnaissance yesterday.
From across the ditch, representation is equally strong. Australian Motorsport News magazine editor Peter Whitten driving a borrowed Ford Escort, with local Roger Oakley pointing the way. From Queensland, Michael Page and Tony Best have shipped out their own 2-litre Escort for their first assault. And of course, the larrikins Dunkerton and Callanan return, driving very different cars.
It's sort of unlike a Ford BDA Escort, which comes straight off the factory floor. This is certainly a hybrid, a 13B peripheral port rotary in the mighty 1980 model Toyota Corolla.
Keith Callanan's Monaro chews through engines with monotonous regularity, so it's no surprise to find a new power plant under the bonnet.
We blew the Kiwi engine up when we got back to Australia. It didn't like our conditions. Did that at the Winton 6 Hour and had to get a new engine. Unfortunately, in the short time frame that we had between the Winton 6 Hour and Classic Adelaide, The only thing we were able to find was a NASCAR engine.
The Dunlop Otago Classic Rally gets underway from the heart of the city outside the Scenic Circle Southern Cross Hotel and the Dunedin Casino. Teams are timed away on transport sectors to the first of 7 special stages for the day. As defending champion, Jimmy McRae carries the confident numero uno and leads off on the furry flat forest leg, followed hotly in pursuit by Hagstrom and Fiorio.
Okay, stage 1 of the Dunlop Otago International Rally, Warri Flat. Just over 13 kilometres. A bit of a hard starter for the youngsters, even more so for the old stagers. So we're just about ready to give it the 1, 2, 3, 10.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And if you missed that, he said, startled rabbit. Up front, McRae and co-driver Gary Smith are having communication issues.
Right to junction. I can't hear you. Long 3 right. Mic not working?
No, I've done that thing.
Long 3 right and junction. Can you hear anything now?
No, fuzzing.
Okay. 150. 5 left. 5 left.
Dunkerton has comms with his co-driver Alan Steen, but he has issues of his own in the hybrid Toyota. Meantime, Keith Callanan is true to his word in the NASCAR-powered Monaro, digging holes for the affable Mark Lawton. The Dunedin car dealer doing his best to guide his V8-powered Avenger through the deep tracks of the preceding cars. Service parks are notorious for being makeshift mechanical camps, often in the middle of nowhere. Like most things about the Dunlop Otago Classic, even the service park is top quality, set on the sandy shores of Lake Waihola. For last year's podium finisher Duncan McCrosty, service comes too early and is not the start he was hoping for.
Not exactly, but we'll get it fixed. We've got another diff, so we'll get back out there. Just heading on down the hill, I noticed it started to moan a bit. So it's just stripped some teeth off the pinion. The pressure's off now, we can definitely have some fun.
But Pasi Hagstrom's applying the pressure at the front in a display of driving that leaves little doubt about just who is the quickest in this field, even when he's not on the racing line.
Almost went a bit wide in Curibus, but otherwise okay. Relaxed and try to avoid the mistakes.
Dean Buist is quick too and certainly tidier, indicating the Kiwi is out to match Hagstrom. On special stage 4, he is in fact nearly 2 seconds quicker than Hagstrom, but still trails the Flying Finn overall.
Well, yeah, basically in the day he's the benchmark, and obviously it's just good to have someone that's so fast that you can place yourself against. Yeah, I mean if he wasn't doing those times, you could slow down. But I mean he does, so you got to try and keep as close as possible to him, you know.
Despite the demands of running so hard, Dean Buist still finds time to check on brother Glenn's own Escort and his early problems.
The thing's smoking, but we're just going to keep pushing it along until such time as it either stops or finishes.
Mark Parsons is enthusiastic about an event he's heard plenty about.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. That third stage, I don't know the name of it, I've got to find out. It was one of the best stages I've ever done. It's like everyone talks about it being like the 1,000 Lakes. I've been over the 1,000 Lakes and seen the stages there, and that was just like just floating in over brows. And just what everyone says about Otago Classic Rally, or just fantastic.
Parsons is happy, but not so the defending champion.
Well, we struggled the first stage with no intercom, but I'm struggling. I've got really sore ribs at the moment, so I'm really struggling at the moment. But hopefully we'll get something done here and be a bit quicker this afternoon.
Further down the field, John Kershaw and Jane Buckman have been having their ups and downs with their Vauxhall Chevette.
Sometimes good, sometimes stops.
This is the car Jimmy McRae won many English championships in.
He drove these. He was a star in these cars, real star.
Stop and start they might, but at least the Chevette is still on the road, which is more than to be said for Mark Lawton.
Yep, there is.
He's got dents and scratches all over the place.
There's a little scratch on your cheek.
Yes, there is. Yeah, I did that with my fingernail, trying to get my intercom back in.
What about the little scratch on the front?
Oh, is there one? Sorry, I didn't notice that. Yeah, we had a little bit of an off. Yeah, over one of those brows and just didn't quite get the instruction right, but we'll get onto it, I'm sure.
Ross Dunkerton seems to have sidestepped any major disaster himself so far and is quietly confident about his hybrid entry this year.
For the short time I drove it last year, I reckon the thing had a bit of potential, and yeah, it's feeling good. I'm starting to get used to driving the car, and it steers good and stops well. All I've got to do is get into gear. It's having a bit of trouble with the gear shift, but apart from that, excellent.
The Italian stallion is hitting his stride. Alex Fiorio, consistently 4th or 5th during the morning, has found another gear. Second fastest on special stage 6, lifting him 2 places overall, but maybe at a price.
We lose at 20 k's from the end. We've heard a lot of noise and say maybe we don't finish the stage, but I didn't know if I can finish the stage because it was boom, 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 20 k's from the end. The long one was very hard stage, but good stage. I like it.
With day 1 fast coming to a close, there's only one special stage left, the Tarmac Super Stage. Keith Callanan's favourite, where the big Monaro can really hang the tail out, but not this year.
Oh, just coming down the hill and it dropped oil pressure. It didn't make a noise or anything, it just, the oil pressure light came on, the gauge went down and we turned it off. Game over. Long way to come for a very short period of time. But anyway.
He and wife Marianne can only watch the field drive by. For everyone else, there's only one thing to do. Get back to the city for the final special stage. Special Stage 7 is around the waterfront of Dunedin Harbour and is a chance for the crowd to see cars racing close up on their streets. 4 laps to complete around a tight circuit, the first and last overlapping with outgoing and incoming cars. This stage of the day, Hagstrom does not win. In fact, McCrosty in the turbo Nissan Bluebird, complete with new diff, is nearly 2 seconds quicker than Ross Dunkerton in the Toyota Rotary, followed by the rest of the field. Spin of the day goes to Robert All and Jason Robb, driving a similar, we suspect a little more traditionally powered Toyota Corolla. Results at the end of leg 1 of the Dunlop Otago Classic Rally look like this. The Rosendale Escort in the hands of Pasi Hagstrom is nearly a minute and a half clear of Dean Buist in a similar BDA. Alex Fiorio and Fabrizia Pons have piloted the Porsche into 3rd outright, relegating Geoff Judd to 4th by just 4 seconds. Ross Dunkerton is just 9 seconds further back, with Jimmy McRae trailing a further minute. 7th outright is Chris Barnett in the RX-7, with Gary Adcock and Mark Dalton 8th. And Glenn Buist and Stephen Carr round out the top 10 fastest in the Dunlop Otago Classic for day 1. It's an early start outside the Southern Cross Hotel, and the general rumblings about the Classic Rally leader from day 1 are beginning to filter through.
Oh no, Pasi's gone, he's gone. He's in another class at the moment. At one time I heard that he might have been doing the national event in the Group N car. That would have been interesting to see how he got on there.
I've heard some rumors, but no any agreement for that. So no, it has been nice now because the weather has been good. So we are able to get good stage times and a little bit upset the national class drivers. But it's okay. That's not the main goal. Just to be here and enjoy.
Well, I think it was interesting to see somebody did a bit of a calculation last night, and if they'd actually put him in the whole event, he'd be 5th outright. So He might be a chance for the national championship in New Zealand. Hope he doesn't come to Australia.
Thick mist seriously reduces visibility over the Taieri Plains for the start of the day's action. Special stages 8, 9 and 10 are in the Berwick State Forest and will have teams in and out of mist for the early part of the morning. Glenn Buist might not have the style of his younger brother Dean, but the extra power of his new 2.1 litre BDA engine gets him out of trouble that might otherwise have caused him grief. Mark Lawton uses the extra power of the V8 Rovenger to his advantage as well. John Kershaw seems to have overcome his fuel problems of yesterday and powers the Chevette on towards Waipori Falls. But there's no good oil on Glenn Buist. In fact, he has no oil at all, thanks to a shared oil drive his race has run.
For some reason, we don't know why, it's shattered that and seized the pump and torn off the oil pump drive off the engine, which of course the low oil pressure light come on and we just turned the car off and thought, well, that's that.
Special Stage 9, Cinnabar, winds up through the hills from Waipori Dam into Berwick Forest, finishing 20 kilometres away at the other end of the ridgetop. After a less than positive start yesterday, Jimmy McRae is hoping for an improvement today.
Intercom problem yesterday and I'm struggling a wee bit with a cracked rib at the moment, so it's hopefully a bit better today.
Dean Buist, on the other hand, is pulling out all the stops. It's his own record that's on the line in this stage and he's out to defend it from the fast-flying Finn. Amazingly, Buist blitzes his 2005 record by 11 seconds. But then Hagstrom smashes another 15 seconds off that. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for his Rosendale teammate.
We just come in there and it was a long 5 right double tightens, and it was just a bit late in the call because it tightens to a 4 and never really got the 4 out, so I was a bit committed. I just tried to, flick it then, throttle it to see if it would go out, but it just slid back in. A bit too quick, a bit too ambitious.
The long flowing ridge-top track gives Duncan McCrosty a chance to open up the turbo. It hardly makes an impression on our rally leaders, but does show the pedigree of this retired ex-factory Nissan. Stephen Carr has been hounding Mark Parsons more than once this rally, and the tarmac specialist gives way to let the faster car through. For Parsons, the agenda is finding a pace for the upcoming week-long Silver Fern Rally.
But we're trying to sort of just make sure we pick a level at which we can drive the car at for a long time, and it's obviously not at the same competitive pace as these other guys.
John Kershaw has been struggling all weekend to get the Vauxhall Chevette through to the end of each stage. The fuel supply problem has seriously affected his confidence, and his frustration is at boiling point.
It all just turns to custard, really. As soon as it misses, I lose the notes, and then I have no confidence that I can go into a corner and it'll come out because it might stop in the middle of the corner. So yeah, it just turns to custard.
Queenslander Michael Page is a long way from home to be experiencing motor problems, but is philosophical.
We had a water problem yesterday where we ran out of water. We weren't too sure where it was going. After the first stage this morning, at the end of the stage it got hot and yeah, we had to put 4 litres in it. So we've just been crawling through now in the last 2 stages. Yeah, we're going to try and complete the event. We're here, so let's do it. I want to do it. I want to see all the roads for next year. So.
Another Australian, Peter Whitten, has been steadily nudging away at the leaderboard. The Motorsport magazine editor, driving in his first overseas event, is not out to break records, but is handling the borrowed Escort with ease. Obviously, reporting on this event in the past couple of years has paid dividends. Ironically, even the most experienced Australian driver is battling to stay in touch. But then the Toyota Rotary is still hanging together.
Yeah, I think I left the brave pills behind because the boys have certainly caned us up Waipori Gorge, and the next stage we weren't too bad, but then the last stage we've just done, we sort of got 3/4 of the way through it, and then just came into a fog that I couldn't see 2 minutes ahead. But it doesn't seem to worry Pasi and Alex.
No, we slow down.
nostra sinistra, 2 più lunga, 30. Dosso destra, 2 lunga.
Maybe Pasi didn't, I don't know.
I was slowing down and taking it easy. It was a couple of crests. After the crests, we had like 100 or 80 meters to the corner, but couldn't see the corner at all. So I was just slowing down and taking it easy. But I think before it was foggy. I think there we gained the time.
But the big news in Special Stage 10 is hard-charging Dean Buist. With Pasi Hagstrom driving away from everyone in the field, Buist has been consolidating his hold on second place. Quickest time in the first stage of the day and a personal best for the Stage 2. But how quickly fortunes can change. Buist's misfortune drops him from second to fifth, and the competition races by.
Yeah, it was only about a few K into that last stage, so you sort of had no choice. It just had to pull over and change it, and as you can see, it's bent the rim and got a hole in the tyre. And the guys behind us were only a minute behind, so you sort of, just, you know, life really, rallying.
Geoff Judd happy to take the advantage.
We had a fantastic first stage and third fastest. We took 5 seconds out of the Porsche, so that moved us into third. And then the next stage I was a little bit average, I think, and we lost a bit of time to him. And I think we've dropped back even more in the last stage. But Dean Buist punctured, unfortunately, so that's moved us back to third. So we're pretty happy where we are, and 2 tough stages to go. So we just want to make the finish now.
And with just 2 stages remaining, finishing is important.
Throw the fire extinguisher out. Where is it? Behind my seat. Just drop it out your door. I'm still belted.
Unable to stop safely, Judd's co-driver Richard Atkinson throws their fire extinguisher out the door, and the pair call in some spectator support.
They're on fire! On fire!
Dunkerton said he'd need to be on fire today to make an impact on this field, but this is taking things too far.
We're doing sort of in excess of 100 mile an hour, and there's a huge explosion inside the car. Burnt my co-driver's eyebrows off, and we found that the whole car, back of the car was on fire. Luckily, one of the cars stopped and gave us an extra fire extinguisher, otherwise she would have burnt to the ground. With the rotary, when you're really getting up it, that does tend to backfire quite a bit, and there's flames coming out the exhaust. So I think the combination of me having a big go, the fuel in there, it was a Bin Laden operation.
Once again, Dunkerton fails to complete this classic rally, forced to spectate the final special stage. But at least he did make it to Forbury Park. There was one other high-profile casualty.
Well, we saw Jimmy McRae and Gary Smith climbing back up on the bank. They waved the OK, and I couldn't see the car, so I guessed it was down on the riverbed. It obviously rolled. It was reasonably fast through there.
So, unfortunately for the defending champion, no win or even a finish for 2006. But no doubt that will only spur the Scotsman on to return again. But there's still one final stage to complete the Dunlop Otago Classic Rally for 2006, and much to the crowd and drivers' delight.
Finito adesso. Finito.
Finland's Pasi Hagstrom's domination is unchallenged. A staggering 3-minute 20 lead over Alex Fiorio. Christchurch's Geoff Judd is the first Kiwi home and shares the podium with the 2 internationals. Dean Buist is robbed of the podium by a puncture, but pulls back a place to finish 4th after Ross Dunkerton's fiery end. Nelson's Chris Barnett brings his RX-7 home for 5th outright, ahead of Gary Adcock and Mark Parsons in the TR7 V8s. Peter Whitten is the first Australian home, a nose in front of John Kershaw, who despite the niggling fuel supply problems, finished a credible 9th in the car's first outing. Rounding out the top 10, Merv Hatcher in the Mitsubishi Starion. So the Dunlop Otago Classic Rally is run again and won again by Pasi Hagstrom. 2 from 3, and a display of driving leaving everyone in awe. But as importantly, every year, word continues to spread about this very special classic event, held in the deep south of the Southern Hemisphere and summed up simply by Italian Alex Fiorio.
I think it's fantastic rally. Really, I didn't expect a rally like this, and I like it too much.